Curtis King, here you go again. Is the music industry oversaturated with artists and music? Should I even release music anymore? Really? Rappers and producers, this is a great question only because I hear it asked so many different times. At this point, I think I have said asked so many times that I have formed it into asked, and that's still not appropriate. Anyways, asked, I can't say ask, whatever. Many of you asked this question, you said, look, is the music industry oversaturated? For those of you that don't understand what oversaturated is, basically when people are asking this question, they're saying, is the music industry full of too many artists, too many songs, too many albums, too many mixtapes, too many SoundClouds? Is it way too much congestion for me to even cut through the noise? And to ask that question in 2017, you have to understand that that same question was asked in 2009. That same question was asked in 2004. The internet has definitely opened up the field to millions and millions of more artists and potential producers. It's definitely opened it up, but that doesn't mean that the question has formed into something different. The answer to that question is always the same answer. Is the music industry oversaturated? Absolutely. It's oversaturated. There's an abundance of music. There's an abundance of rappers, an abundance of producers. There's all these people. My question to you is, why does that matter? You're not in competition with everybody. That's something that I think a lot of rappers and producers need to really hone down on. You are not in competition with everybody. You're in a competition with your damn self. You're in competition with the fan base that is already aligned for you. You got to think of yourself. If you're a producer, for instance, okay, I'm going to do rappers and producers, but let's do producers first. If you're a producer that has beats where your drums are creative like a Timbaland, your melodies are as intricate as the Neptunes, your sound design is crazy as a Skrillex. There is nobody else that is that embodiment of that sound like you are. Even somebody who thinks that describes them too, they still don't embody the sound the same exact way. Because you got to even think, for a producer, if you say you have the interesting drums of Timbaland, one person can interpret that as, oh, you got the bongo rhythms or the off rhythms that Timbaland has. Another person could say, oh, that means that he uses very detailed drums that sound a certain type of way. That's two different types of one person or one producer that you can take inspiration from, right? Same thing for a rapper. If you're a rapper that you may have some of the same kind of melodic ideas as a Drake, but your lyricism kind of competes with the Royce da 5'9", or maybe your content is more so of a Black or whatever, like you have these combinations that make you who you are, not to mention your story is your story. So yes, the music industry is oversaturated, but what does that have to do with anything that you wanted to do? When you first started making music, was that even a concern? Was oversaturation a concern? Did you walk into that first 16 bars when you were writing to that beat and said, oh man, maybe I shouldn't even finish these bars because there's 1,000,001 rappers right now? No, your goal was to get it done. So then I must encourage you. You must continue to get it done. You got to take care one step at a time. And I think that a lot of rappers and a lot of producers worry about oversaturation way too damn early. And I think it shouldn't be an issue at all. But being human and being realistic, yes, it's going to be something you're going to think about. I've thought about it many times. As I start to put out new music and start to wonder, where does my voice come in? Where does my voice pretty much stand within hip hop? Is my voice unique? Or am I just basically adding to this huge chorus of rappers who are saying the same exact thing? And I did have a time where I felt like that, where I felt like I was worried about music oversaturation because I sounded like everybody else. But if you're focusing in on the things that make you unique, the fact that maybe you're from North Carolina, the fact that maybe there's no hip hop scene where you're from, in your particular city, the fact that maybe you're from South Dakota, North Dakota, and you got this idea of how you believe hip hop should sound coming from North Dakota, you gotta say your piece. You gotta talk about your story. You gotta share that, and you gotta do it in a way that is unique to you. Maybe you got, this Canadian accent in what you're doing, and you're trying to mask that within your music, thinking that is something to be ashamed of. No, that's something that makes you unique. That's something that helps you cut through the crowds. That's something that helps you cut through the masses. You want to talk about oversaturation? The thing that's being oversaturated is everybody trying to sound like this one perfect rapper. When in all actuality, there is no perfect rapper. There is no perfect producer. There is only you. And if somebody looks at you and they look at you and say there is so much congruency in what he's doing, there's so much alignment in everything that he or she is doing that I think that is perfect, that's what it should be. That is your specific fan. That is your specific follower, your specific supporter. Worry about finding your specifics. Don't worry about trying to figure out, because if I sat up here and told you, yes, the music industry is oversaturated, you should quit now. How are you going to feel 2 days later? Are you going to regret quitting? I think many of you would regret quitting because you know that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you must tell your story because there is somebody who is going through something as detailed as you went through in your life. No matter how crazy you think your life is, somebody can relate on a level that it would blow your mind. Their life is almost identical to yours. And then on top of that, there's 10 more who are like that. So that being said, don't you think your story, don't you think your music is valuable enough, no matter how oversaturated the industry is? Don't you think your story is detailed enough to tell it? I mean, think about how many action movies we've seen over and over and over and over and over again. The same exact action movies where, you got this person that was down on their luck. And then all of a sudden somebody that was close to them got stolen, and then they had to go find that person, and they had to go beat everybody's ass and kick people and karate chop them and whatever, and then they finally got it, and then everything ended in explosions. That sounds like every freaking action movie for the last 20 years. But does that mean we're not going to continue to see action movies? No. But every once in a while there's that action movie that comes out that we say, dang, that's a little bit different from the norm, and I actually really, really like this and enjoy it. My challenge to you is tell your story. Continue to tell your story. Don't worry about these things like oversaturation, because the people who say these things more than likely are not contributors to the industry, are not contributors to a unique way of thinking or creativity. You are. Continue to tell your story. Continue to create your music. Once again, it's another Curspiration. Look, if you need some more of this juice, please subscribe to the channel. If you have any comments, any questions, anything that you want to ask for future Curspirations, please leave it in the comments below. And look, man, I don't know, man. You can't worry about oversaturation. What you have to be concerned about is telling your story in the best way that you know possible, and then letting the chips fall where they fall. In this life, you will not be full of life until you decide to live life to its fullest. Curtis King, CurtisKingBeats.com. I can't listen to you. When I listen to you, it's a liability, cause you be mentally killing my inner energy. So I'm concealing my feelings before you injure me.